at what does the Constitution say about court or registry marriage in Nigeria. Who has the powers to conduct that marriage here in Nigeria? Should it be the federal government through the Ministry of Interior or the local governments? Now, all of these court cases were actually instituted by the local governments. One was by Etiosa local government, the other by Ikeja local government. So the local governments are maintaining that it is their sole responsibility to conduct marriages in Nigeria. Shortly, the lawyer will join us. But I'm sure that you're still at a crossroad, whether or not the certificate you carry is still valid.
Well, the consolation I have is the response of the Federal Ministry of Interior regarding this matter. It said there's another judgment which said the ministry cited the previous judgment of Federal High Court in Ikoyi between Prince Hastrop and Etiosa local government, wherein the court held that the federal government, through the Ministry of Interior, is constitutionally empowered to conduct marriages in Nigeria, and that the local government were delegated by the federal government to conduct marriages by virtue of legal notices issued pursuant to the Marriage Act. Now, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Interior, and Principal Registrar of Marriages, that's Shoaib Belgoro, said instead of appealing the court judgment, Etiosa local government went on to file another suit, which he said was dismissed for being an abuse of court processes. Further to the above, the current decision of the Federal High Court, delivered by Honorable Justice D. Esiego of Court 6, cannot set aside a previous decision of the same court, which is of coordinate jurisdiction, as that would amount to the court sitting on appeal over its own judgment. So on that basis, my certificate of marriage
remains valid
with my wife, we are still married. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to inform you.
It's okay now.
I'm still married.
Don't worry.
These people want to spoil my marriage for me.
Who wants to spoil your marriage?
I didn't born out of wedlock. So
well,
I just want to tell you people.
Joshua,
I am so happy to inform you this
thank
morning.
God there's a lawyer in the house this morning who will help us take a look at this and help us break it down to so that we all can understand what exactly is going on. Barrister Bosun Osifowora is a lawyer, a marriage lawyer. Plenty, in fact, you do so many things, but I know that this is your forte, and hopefully we'll be able to get a better picture of what this is all about this morning. So let's take it from where Joshua stopped. Joshua got married at the Federal Registry, and so his consolation is that he still has a valid marriage. But what does the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria say about who has the right or who can conduct a court marriage, of course, the registry marriage?
All right. Based on the Constitution, if you look at the fourth schedule of the Constitution, first schedule 1 sub I, it says that the local government is seized with the powers to register deaths, births, and marriages, expressly stated. So that's the position of the law. But you see, if you go back to the first schedule of the Constitution, you also find there on the number 60, in the first schedule, number 61, and also 63, it says that under the exclusive list, that the federal government can actually look into the area of marriage, formation of marriage, dissolution of marriage, and related things, except Islamic marriages, which is a different ballgame entirely. Now, so that also gives powers to the federal government through the Ministry of Interior to create, to oversee marriages and register marriages, as it were. Now, so the law further empowers the Minister of Interior, to delegate the same powers to the DG of the ministry to coordinate activities relating to celebration of marriages. Now, but you see, basically, where the issue started, or before we go into the issue, now, as far as the law is concerned, the local government is seized with powers to conduct marriages. In fact, if you look at the Marriage Act, it says in Section 3 of the Marriage Act that the president shall divide the country into districts, that's local governments, and create marriage registries in each local government. The same thing is reinforced in Section 31 of the Marriage Act. Now, that's as far as that goes. Now, but there's another part of the Marriage Act, that's Section 6, which says that the Minister of Interior shall also grant powers or license to places of worship. Now, so I'll try and explain a little bit. Because
Joshua, why are you shaking your legs?
You know,
marriage is the job you are telling me.
Joshua, calm down.
All right, so there's no problem. It's a very straightforward thing. It's just it's unfortunate how people just decided to go about that thing. There was some mischief, but I'll tell you how the mischief came about. Now, so basically, we've established that under the exclusive list, the federal government has given powers to the Ministry of Interior to oversee affairs on marriages. Now, that's one. Then also the Constitution and the 4th Schedule says that the local government shall be seized with all powers relating to marriage, registration of marriage, births and deaths. Now, those two are clear. Now, but this is how far we can go. Now, if you look at I saw you talking about...
Sorry, before because you were going to say before you saw that Joshua was shaking, you were going to say that the law also empowers the Minister of Interior to delegate to places of worship. That was where you stopped.
Okay,
so if you can
all right, let me pick it up from there.
Please.
Now, so you see, the local government, each local government should have, by constitution, should have a marriage registry in it, all the local governments. Now, that's one. Now, but the law also empowers the Ministry of Interior to have a federal marriage registry in only 2 places. The former Capital Territory, which is Lagos, and also Abuja. Those are the 2 places they'll have no other place. Now, just note that. Now, so this gave rise to the first case, Prince Hastrop versus Etiosa. Basically, what happened in that case was they went to court to find out whether conducting of marriage is exclusive to local governments. And the court ruled, I think it was Justice Olomojobi that ruled and said that it is not the exclusive preserve of the local government. That the law also empowers, the same constitution also empowers the the Ministry of Interior to have a federal marriage registry just in 2 places, Lagos and Abuja. So that ended there. So I think the Ministry of Interior now fancied its chances. They now got some data company, Anchor Data Solution Limited. So what they did was they saddled the company with the responsibility to, 1, establish federal marriage registries in all the states, which is contrary to the law. So that was an initiative of the Ministry of Interior. And you know, Section 1, subsection 3 of the Constitution says that any law, any initiative, any directive that is contrary to the position of the Constitution shall be null and void to the extent of its inconsistencies. So basically that directive by the ministry was wrong, was ultra-vires. Thank you for using our register. Now that's one. So what they now did was, so you know, earlier on the court had ruled that it's not the only preserve of now so
government.
Having fancied this chance, they went ahead to do that, but they didn't stop there. The federal ministry, the Ministry of Interior now gave another, like a circular directive that all local governments should come and get operating license regarding marriages from them. Now, so you see that they were overstepping. Then they also now wrote to immigration that the only form of, the only eligible certificate is the one from the federal marriage. That's why you find people started telling, you know, their fiancés that I don't want, I only want Ikoyi. I don't want, particularly those who intend to travel. It was some mischief from the Ministry of Interior. Now, they didn't stop there. They wrote to embassies as well. Now, so all these things were exhibited by the... So what the local government did, it was more like a revenue thing. Because what the local government did, if you look at the latest suit, the local government, Etiosa came... Ikeja, there's even one from, there's Owerri Municipal something. Yeah, they came same Edo, they came together like that and instituted the suit against the Minister of Interior, against the Attorney General, and Anchor Solutions Limited. Okay. So the court now ruled. Now, so what they came to court to do is not the same thing they did in the first case in Astrop versus Etiosa. The one for Astrop versus Etiosa was that the one issue was raised there, whether it was the exclusive preserve of local government, and the court said no, that the Ministry of Interior can also do it only in two places. Now, but this one has to do with the legality of the Ministry of Interior to set up federal ministries all over. Now, so the court now ruled that the federal ministry, the Ministry of Interior can only operate in Abuja and Lagos. That as far as marriages is concerned, as far as the constitution has not been changed, the fourth schedule, section number 1 sub I remains, and is still the position of the law. So don't dabble into it. Stay on your lane. Let the local government. Then all those directives and all those things were declared null and void. But nothing in that judgment invalidated the marriage certificate issued from Ikoyi registry or the one in Abuja registry. It hasn't stopped it.
But how about all those other registries that are not...
No, the court said that the ministry does not have the power to do that. So those ones automatically goes.
They are gone.
So this whole matter is anchored. I'm not satisfied yet. We must trash out this one. We are talking about marriage.
Yeah, but you have a valid marriage now, so it's okay.
It's a serious something, no. so it's because of money now that federal ministry is now tampering with our marriages.
Yeah, what they are doing? No, I think when the judgment came out, I have not said so, but if you say so.
No, because that's it now. They will just want to ordinarily.
So it's a case of mischief for mischief. Now, so they went to town with the narrative that, see, all of you that got married, they got the judgment in their favor, the local governments. But the judgment didn't say anything about invalidating marriage certificates, even from both ends. It's just saying that the ministry does not have the powers to set up federal marriage registries in local governments. It's a unnecessary duplication, and it contravenes the position of the law.
Let me quickly address this, because you mentioned that the Ministry of Interior also has the powers to designate
the minister.
The minister also has the power to designate some religious...
Only the DG. Okay.
Religious organizations to do that, because I know some churches, they will go to the Ministry of Interior to get the certificate.
Okay, I'll explain.
And they pay for that. Because they'll say, when you get to the register, they say, do you want to do it in church or you want to do it here?
All right, now let me just explain. There are two kinds of marriages, or there are different kinds of marriages. There's marriage under the Act, that's under the Marriage Act. Then there's customary marriage, what you refer to as traditional marriages. Then also there's Islamic marriage. Some people have grouped Islamic and customary as same, but there are decisions that have said that they're different. Now, but let's leave the customary and traditional one. Let's stay on the marriage under the Act. Now, marriage under the Act, you have two dimensions as well. The first one is the one you call court wedding, which is not really done in court. It's the registry is the one you do in registry. Now, the second angle to it is under the Marriage Act. If you look at Section 6 of the Marriage Act, it says that the Minister of Interior can go ahead and give license to registered place of worship. Now, so the churches that can conduct marriages are known as licensed place of worship. So they get the license from the Ministry of Interior. So when they give you, you see the certificate, yes. Now, so you can opt for going directly to the registry or doing it in church. But if the church is not licensed by the Ministry of Interior, whatever you've done there is a sham and is not. So that's the position of the law. Okay, so
quickly, also staying with under religious places of worship, does this also include mosques? Because you meant most times. It's so how does it work?
The mosque comes under Islamic.
Okay, Islamic. Okay.
Yes, the Islamic marriage is an entirely different ball
or
game.
recognized under
Very
the law.
recognized. Very. In fact, I was at a sister TV station yesterday, and I was asked a question that is traditional marriage inferior to, and I told them point blank that there's a Supreme Court decision that says that the traditional marriage or the customary marriage is not inferior to the registry marriage. That's marriage under the Act. No marriage is inferior. All marriage is recognized, duly recognized by the law, by the Constitution, and given vent to by the law.
Now that we have settled the fact that has agitated my mind that I am still legally married, praise the Lord. So can we move forward with this? So why should we be playing pranks? That's because that's the nitty-gritty of this matter. Why should we be playing pranks? I agree that local government needs some kind of revenue, and of course you get it whether I'm on 10,000 or 5,000. That's more 20 people come to your. That's more money for local government. Why will the federal government just want to bite more and more, or is there more to it, or is it because of the consultant they engaged
You see,
that just want to make more money for? Is that it?
Sometimes you see, it's a question of fancying your chance. Because if you look at the first case, like I said, you know, at some point there was this news going around that Ikoyi cannot conduct marriages way back, that it's only the local government. So that was what bettered that case, Astrop versus, and the court was clear on it that it's not exclusive, that the Ministry of Interior can also do that. Now, so when the Ministry of Interior too saw that judgment, I think they also fancied their own chance to go ahead and say, okay, if we could do it here. I guess they didn't know, you know, sometimes maybe they didn't engage the services of maybe legal practitioners who understand the rules and the game.
But shouldn't the Federal Registrar of Marriages be a legal practitioner? I'm just saying.
Shouldn't they have one?
They do, domiciled even in the ministry.
Then you see, let me tell you something.
Or you're pushing the envelope. You're trying to test the waters.
Marriage is, you see, sometimes the law has its own technicalities.
Right.
And I do a lot of divorce cases, and sometimes I've seen from senior advocates, I see something that I'm like, where's this coming from? The same senior advocate that you see on TV, you know, vibing and all that, he has his own area of specialty, but maybe because of revenue. I mean, sometimes there are cases they bring to me and I go like, this is not my area of expertise. I'll call somebody who knows. But in some cases, some people just do all this bubuni shit thing, like just bring it, you know, so it doesn't work like that. So sometimes maybe they engage, because I feel the office of the Attorney General, that's why they sued the Attorney General along that. I mean, whatever happens in that Attorney General's office, there are experts in different areas. So I think those ones, in fact, if you look at the judgment, one of the things that the defendants, that's the minister, AG's office and all that, one of the things they canvassed was that this case had been done before.
So
and the court had to now, you know, dichotomize and say that, no, the earlier one was looking at the exclusivity of local government conducting marriages. But this one is looking at the legality of the Ministry of Interior, establishing federal marriages, federal registries, marriage registries in all local government, which is not supposed to be.
We need to wrap up now, but before we go, very quickly, now that this judgment is here, and we do know that the Ministry of Interior had no right to set up other courts aside the two that the court
other registries.
The registries, sorry, in Lagos and Abuja. Is it possible also that now that they also went ahead to tell embassies and a whole lot of others to recognize only the certificates from the federal
marriage
registry? What does this hold for future references for those who would present certificates from other local government? How do we begin to correct this melee and not make the local government certificates inferior to the Ikoyi Federal Registry certificate?
Actually, like I said, there's no certificate that is inferior. But you see, I think it is incumbent on the ministry to actually come out and fine, they issued direct. I'm not aware of embassies rejecting marriage certificate. Basically, what the embassy wants is for you to prove that you are married to this person.
Right.
Now, but I've not heard of cases. I've not heard, but then I think they are aware of what's going on as well. So, you know, embassies understand the game. They understand what's going on. So whether or not the Ministry of Interior issues a counter directive, the embassies are aware that there's a judgment that's in place. And if you go to the embassy and they say that this is not what we want, then you can always show them that this is the position of the law, this is what the law says. The embassies too always engage legal practitioners to come to their aid in respect of certain things. I've been engaged on a few occasions by a few embassies in even different matters, and some relating to marriage, search, and all those things. Now, so the legal practitioners are in a better position to tell them that you can't go ahead in this direction. But I'm not very aware of. But I think it is incumbent on the Ministry of Interior, based on integrity, to go ahead and say there's nothing to appeal in this thing. What the judge has done,
pretty clear,
very clear, and they have set it straight that this is the law, this is the position, these are your bounds, and these are your excesses, and you just stay on your lane. That's just to stay on your lane and go about your business.
That's just the bottom line of this one. Okay, I think we've set this matter straight, and every other thing that comes out from this then is
so there's no cause for alarm.
Getting out of your lane. Joshua is happy. He was very worried whether or not, you know, he was living with his wife
as a baby daddy.
Barrister Bosun Osifowora, thank you so much for coming to help us through life on this. So that's the much we can take on the program today. Thank you so much for being with us all week long. Morning Delights. We'll be back here 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Remember, COVID is still real, especially the Omicron variant. We've heard that this variant is very difficult to identify, and it has every similarity with malaria. So be very careful out there. Please continue to use your mask. Continue to wash your hands regularly with soap and water. And if you can social distance, you please go ahead and do so. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. I am Abimbola Bello.
Of course, our conversations today, very interesting, I must say. First, we talked about women beating up their husbands. Of course, it's all about relationship. And of course, the last one we talked about, talking about marriage, whether the Ministry of Interior just want to catapult everyone and turn us to baby daddies and baby mummies. Okay, but the fact still remains that we must cherish our relationships. And of course, whatever kind of domestic violence we engage in, we should stop, whether the man beating the woman or vice versa. It is absolutely wrong. Our culture, our humanity does not encourage that. We must stop it. Gender-based violence is wrong. And of course, we must help each other by ensuring that we do not cause wahala in our marriages. Federal government, stay somewhere. And of course, local government, do your own. Let us all enjoy ourselves. When you see something, you say something, and of course, you do something. I am Joshua Murakinyo. Have a great weekend.